Don't take much, a little affection, some of your time. That's all that I'm asking for. Feels like this dream will never come true. Just want somebody who know how to listen and give me attention. Who won't break my heart? I got attention. Ain't hard to please. I don't need a lot. Just show me that you care. And you be there when I need you most. And when I see I don't, make me feel secure forever. I just need someone to love me when it's hard to. I can trust with all my issues. Someone who is patient and consistent. I need good sex and commitment from somebody loyal, understanding, who won't change up to get advantage of my emotions or my feelings. I need good sex and commitment. I don't want money. I'd rather ever somebody real. I can be myself around who makes me laugh, who make me cry, who knows what it means to sacrifice. If I'm having a bad day, you know just what to say. I can show you all my thoughts and where my demons play, and you won't use them against me. You rather use them to lift me, and you be there when I need you. Make me feel you never. Every touch. And I want to love you, but it's hard to. I can trust with consistent. I need good sex and commitment from somebody loyal. Now, you know, I could go on with that all night. I get into my music and it's hard to stop, but we've got too much to talk about tonight. So it's time to start talking. Good evening. It's Friday night again, live with Dr. Kim. And if you haven't guessed it, I'm Dr. Kim. And I'm flying solo tonight. I know it feels a little weird not to have anybody with me. So as the Baptist preachers say, I won't be before you long. Sometimes these Friday nights, hey, who is that? It's all the way from Philly in the house. Good to see you in the chat. I hope you're feeling better. But yeah, these Friday nights get long when I have company, but I'm by myself tonight. So we're gonna roll for these next 58 minutes or so and get as much in as we can. It's been a busy week already. So tonight, you know, usually I have my adult beverage, but tonight I'm going with some coffee. I need a little caffeine to push me through the show tonight. So grab your drink, grab your notebook, call a friend, invite somebody up, share the link, and make sure you like this, because a lot of people need to hear this. And watch this. I thought this was so cool. And I'm telling you, I love the friends that I have, my virtual friends, my real life friends, but definitely people who follow the group on Facebook, Love and Life According to Dr. Kim. People who follow that group, people who follow this YouTube channel, who know that I love everything about love, right? And so they're a mixed group. We've got single women, we've got divorced women, widows. It runs the gamut. And so, yep, we go get it in. You know, you gonna help me in the chat, so I'm not alone. And so and I hope she'll be here soon. She had said, well, I'm married. She said, but my husband and I, we still date. So I'm gonna listen in
and see what I can get. And I was like, you know what? That's perfect, because I think that's one of you. Excuse me, my bang's not agreeing with me tonight. One of the things that I try to stress when I'm coaching couples, and I won't do my PSA right now, but when I'm coaching couples and even singles, that marriage is not a destination. It is a part of your life's journey. So I think a lot of times single people or even divorced people who want to be married again, they spend so much time trying to get there. And then when they get there, they're just there. One of my good friends who I just saw last week when I was in Norfolk, Reverend Dr. William Marcus Small, wrote an excellent book about 3 or 4 years ago called Becoming Married. And if I could reach it on my show, but I know I can't turn around and put my hands on it that fast. But that's kind of the backbone of his book, that marriage is an evolution. Marriage is an ongoing process. So even in this conversation tonight, where I'm talking about dating smart, being smart about your dating, these things, these steps, these things that we're considering as we're looking for a life partner are just as important once you find them. So I was so glad that she brought that to my attention, that even though she's married, she's like, I'm gonna listen in, because there's something that me and my husband can grab from this. The other piece that I thought was important in her saying that is me remembering that your language is so important. So your language leads your feelings. Feelings lead your actions. And so being so clear about what we're saying we want, our language to follow. So just so you know, if you have some folks who are married or who are already engaged, I think we got one more dating show on the schedule. And after that, the rest of the season is going to be devoted to marriage. So I'm going to have some married couples coming on. I'm going to have some more other coaches coming on, because I want to be married. I'm going to be married. And therefore, I'm going to make sure that my language is marriage minded. I remember some years ago, watch this, and then I'm gonna get into, my statistics. I have stats tonight. I haven't had any for the last couple of weeks, but I have some stats tonight. A couple of years ago, when I was still in ministry real heavy at my home church, I was talking to one of my ministry partners, and I said, you know what, we should start a singles ministry. There's like more single people in this church than married people. And he said to me, I'll support you, Doc. He said, but I don't want to label myself as a single. I was like, what? Now this man had never been married. Now here it is. I had been married, seeking to be remarried. He had never been married, but he said he did not want to be over the singles ministry. He didn't even want to be a member of the singles ministry, because he did not want to attach that label to himself. And guess what? He's married today. And just had his second child. And so at first I thought he was just being fussy, but there is power in our words. And so if you have people in your corner who is wishy-washy, come on, Sunday school students, you all know a wishy-washy person is unstable in all their ways, right? Don't get me teaching on Bible study on Friday night. So you got to get people out of your camp who are on the fence. Or those are not the people that you share with, right? Your hopes and your dreams. And so there's a very select few that I talk about this marriage journey with, because I have some friends who've been hurt. They're like, So when I started talking about, these dreams that I'm having, sometimes they're like, oh, girl, that's beautiful. And sometimes they're like, you can have it, because I ain't trying. So it's hard for them to encourage, because that's not something that they embrace for themselves. So your words. Don't start walking on eggshells around people and diminishing your dream or your goals because you know other people are uncomfortable. Rebecca, you were saying a little bit earlier on your post about wanting to get some older people in here listening to this. This is a multi-generational platform. I got 20s and 30s that I hang out with, 40s and the 50s, of course, 60s and 70s, and even 80s. Everybody wants love. Everybody deserves love. And as the relationship renovator, I don't want you to just get the love. I want you to keep it. And that's why we're talking about this tonight. If you choose right, those of you who listened in Wednesday night on Facebook, I did a special edition and I was talking about why I'm single. Because was it 2 weeks ago? A week ago? Yeah, when I did Q&A with Dr. Kim, my inbox was blowing up. People are like, that's not the only reason why you're single. You're holding back. So I did a whole show Wednesday about why I'm single for real, like the real answers from my heart. And that seemed to go over very well. We got almost 1,000 views on that. So I think that quieted everybody down. So in that same vein tonight, dating smart. Dating smart. We got to engage the head and the heart. What's up, Lewis? Good evening. It's good to see you, my friend. You got to engage the head and the heart. And that's what I was talking about Wednesday night. I know you didn't see that because I don't think that we're friends on Facebook, Lewis. There's Emma. Emma, how are you? Good evening. Good evening, Emma. Emma, glad you made it. Make sure you all are liking and sharing. Get some married people in here, single people, ladies and gentlemen. This is a universal, this is a universal message. We don't want any lovers left behind. We want everybody involved in this conversation tonight. So dating smart, dating fatigue is real. I know some folks just tired. And you know, I've been out in these dating streets, it'll be 12 years. It'll be 12 years in a couple of days. Yikes. So I've been out here for a minute. Hey, Phyllis, how are you? It's good to see you. I'm glad you made it. She made it on YouTube. First time. Thank you, sis. I tried. I'm struggling this week, but I tried. As you know, iron sharpens iron. I can't show up in here any kind of way if I know you coming. I gotta represent. The tribe. So dating fatigue, 12 years out here. It's been a little rough. But the reason I realized I'm so tired is because I've been doing it wrong. So I said, it's time to start working smarter. And once I started working smarter, really, believe it or not, from the pandemic on, the pandemic changed the way everybody dated, but I think it also changed the way I thought about dating. And I'm not alone. So I'm going to share a little bit of that tonight as well. I was just talking about you, Emma, when I was saying that there's aspects of this that are good for the marrieds because, like you were saying, you never stop dating your husband, and that's smart. I was saying that so many times people focus on getting to marriage. Oh, I'm married. Now we there. And it is an ongoing process. And those of us who are divorced know that that's true. Somebody gave up. It may have been you. Somebody gave up on me. So you can't do it by yourself. And part of that is dating, keeping the romance and the love alive. There's well, hey, cuz, what's up, Jack? We got Florida in here. We got Philadelphia in here. Emma, what state are you from? I know we got a different state. Are you Wisconsin? Shout out to your states. I know all the states that are represented here tonight. We going back coastal, y'all. I love it. But marriage is not a destination. It's ongoing. And so there's this couple in one group that I'm in, and every week they show themselves dancing around the house. So all of their date nights are not outside the house. Some of it is date nights inside the house, but they're intentional. And when I was doing research for tonight, that is the word that came up probably more than any other word is intentionality or intention. People are dating with intention now. So you're from Philadelphia too? Wow. So Rebecca and Phyllis are both here from Philadelphia. Jackie's here from Florida, Jacksonville. Louis and I are here in Illinois. And I'm going to give you some stats for Illinois, which I think you all will find interesting. And then I'm waiting to see where Emma is from. So we're going to do it. We're going to do it smart and not hard. So watch this. Here's statistics to those of you who are taking notes. That would be a good time. I knew you were from Chicago, Minnesota. Okay. Okay, Minnesota in the house. That's cool. All right. So watch this. 2020, there was a poll that went out and asked people, Dr. A in the house. What's up, Dr. Liz? Got another Illinoisan in the house. I'm glad you got my message. Good to see you. 75% of the people polled on Hinge in 2020 said, of the single people, that they were looking for a relationship. They were looking to be committed. So just that statistic alone kind of may be shocking because it sounds the opposite of what we hear on social media, right? Everybody out here looking for the hookup. Everybody trying to settle down. There's a 75% of the people that they polled, single people that they polled, said that they were looking for a long-term relationship. Now, that number was significantly higher than it was prior to the pandemic. So I think, again, like I was saying a moment ago, the pandemic gave everybody a moment in time to, first of all, sit still, think about your life, count up the cost. I think, a lot of the things that were important to us prior, pre-COVID, not as important now, right? There were a lot of divorces. If you remember, divorces spiked like April of 2020. Divorce, shoot. I said, dang, people weren't even in the house that long alone. But it was, already in process. But divorces spiked during COVID. And marriages did. Marriages did as well. There were a lot of marriages. People masked up, got 10 or 20 of their closest friends and jumped the broom, because they realized that life is short and they didn't want to spend it alone. And the people who divorced realized that life is short. They deserve to be happy. Watch this. I'm gonna put my glasses on for a minute, and then I'm gonna get into the how we're gonna do this right. Hey. All right. So in Illinois, we always hear it's twice as many men as there are women. That's not true. That is not true. And I remember listening. You all know Stefan Speaks, Stephan Lavoisier. Shout out to him if he ever sees my podcast. I just love me some. I didn't say I was in love with him, but I love me some him. He tells the truth. Yes, some of your people are in here. But people would have you to believe this is so many more men than women. And so that's why so many of us are single. That's not true. So look at these statistics for Illinois. In Illinois, there are, of all the single people in Illinois, there are 51% of the single men have never been married. And 47% of the single people in Illinois, or single women, have never been married. Isn't that something? So it's some folks out here that don't have the mileage that everybody thinks, like, oh Lord, these folks have been used goods, folks got baggage, I'm not trying to deal with it. That's right. No lovers left behind. So watch this. There are 94 men for every 100 women in Illinois. So it's a small gap. It's a gap, but it's a small gap. It's not like 100, 50 men for every 100 women. It's 94 men for every 100 women. Now, don't get on here, and I don't have followers like this, but I know some people, well, now you got to look at, drill it down to how many of them are, if you're talking about the African-American population, how many are incarcerated, How many are in same-sex relationships? Don't want to hear it. Okay. People are there. Watch, I'm gonna drill it down even more. Okay. So 7% of that number that I gave you, the folks that are single, 7% of those men have been divorced. There's more women in Illinois that have been divorced than men. So 10% of the single women in the dating pool have been divorced, and only 7% of the men have been divorced. Interesting. 2% are widowers, and 8% are widows. So widowers being the men whose wives have passed on, and 8% are widows, women whose husbands have passed on. So you got a little a micro demographic in there. 5% of that single population, they call themselves single, but they're really not, are men who are separated. And then we got 6% of women that fall in that same category, or have an absent spouse. So somebody who is away. Okay. So, but here's another one I thought was interesting. The age group, watch this, the age group that is the highest percent of married people is 40 to 44. So if you're anywhere between 40 to 44, most folks are kind of booed up here in Illinois. This is Illinois, and I'm gonna post the link for that so you all can maybe look up your own state and see what you find out. So younger than that and slightly older than that, there's a pool of single people available. The marriage spikes again from 65 to 74, which I thought was interesting. So we kind of out here, just kind of swimming in this, in this open space. These for our late 40s and 50s, we wait for our turn. And then by 65, we'll be booed up again. I guess that's what it's saying. So I thought all that was interesting. The other thing you need to think about is where you are living. And that's one of the things that comes up later on in my solutions for tonight, is where you're living. So where is there a preponderance of single and available people? So again, looking at Chicago, I just looked at Chicago, not the whole state of Illinois, but Chicago, because it's the biggest city in Illinois. And so most of the neighborhoods, watch this, most of the neighborhoods that line the boundaries, the outermost boundaries of Chicago, are where the concentration of married people are, with the exception of Hyde Park. And Hyde Park is a really chi-chi area in Chicago for those who are not familiar. That is where the Obamas lived when they lived here in Chicago. And so most of there's a pocket of married people right there in Hyde Park. And the rest are kind of spread out around the boundaries of Chicago. The rest of that is single. So again, I brought all of that out tonight. So you're not discouraged. People are, ain't nobody out here. Everybody already booed up. They're there. And so out of the ones that are available, we're going to find you one. So get out your notepad. Here we go. What are our solutions to dating fatigue? How are we going to date smarter and not harder? How are you going to find that person or align yourself so that person finds you? And believe it or not, these things are working for me. It's getting better. I'm getting closer. Yeah, I'm going to send out the invitations. You all will be the second to know. So when I jump that broom, I'm going to still do my Friday night. He might just be sitting over there on the couch waiting for me to be done. Or maybe we'll have date night afterward, but I'm going to still do my Friday night. So don't you all worry. Number one, be clear about your dating goals. I talked about this a little bit Wednesday. Don't be afraid to tell people what you want. Now, that's whether you want a committed relationship, whether you want to be married, or whether or not you just want companionship, whether or not you want a physical relationship. Say, you know what, right now, I don't have the bandwidth to open my heart and give it to somebody. However, just like we're still in the midst of cuffing season and it got cold here again in Chicago. Hey, I just don't want to wake up alone. Be honest with people. But what I found is people lie, men and women. And again, this is an equal opportunity conversation. I said this at the beginning. So I don't man bash and I don't woman hate. I've been a woman my whole life. All women aren't created equal. Okay. So when my sisters are wrong, I'm going to call them out. When the brothers are wrong, I'm going to call them out. Okay. So I've seen men and women both lie about their dating goals. Women will lie because they don't want to scare the man away. If they want a commitment, they're like, if I tell him I want to be married, he's not going to want to date me. So I'm going to wait, see if we get to know each other. And then, if things are working out good, then I'll let him know, I really do want a husband. Now, why would you do that to yourself? Why would you do that to yourself? Open your heart, get all connected, get all warm and fuzzy, and then drop the bomb and think he's still not going to run just because now you've gotten his attention? Be honest from the beginning. That is one thing, if nothing else, I think we learned from the pandemic. Don't waste your time. Life is too short. So why would you spend 6 months of your time lying, knowing? And I've done it. So I can tell you I'm a witness. I have done it. I don't want to tell this man that. But maybe at some point it'll be safe to tell him. Really? No. Day one. I'm looking for a committed relationship at a minimum. I want to be married. I just want companionship, or I want to smash and dash. Tell people so then they can make an honest decision or a decision that works for them. Otherwise, that's a bait and switch. So be honest about your dating goals. Be clear, which means you got to sit with yourself. Some people don't know. If you're still dating like you were 10 years ago, shame on you because too much has changed. If you're still dating like you were 5 years ago, too much has changed. Okay, so do yourself a favor, sit down, have a conversation with yourself. So what is it I really want? Because my goals have not been the same these whole 12 years I've talked about. There was a period of time that I said, I'm okay with a special friend. I think that's all I need. I just sometimes want somebody to watch a movie with, or I want a +1 so I don't have to go certain places alone, or somebody who, if I do have to go to the mechanic, I don't have to walk in there and have them take advantage of me because I'm just a girl, So there was a time I just want a special friend. Then there was a time I just wanted a special friend. Read between the lines. And then there was a time where I said, you know what, the real Kim, I need somebody to call her own. I want to change my name one more time. And I want to do that whole deal. I want that ultimate commitment. It took a while for me to realize that's what I wanted. And so now I'm there out the gate. Some people talk about me. Jackie, help me out here. Oh, we got 2 Jackies in here. What's up? Hey, sis, from the Diamonds. We got a diamond in here from Diamonds in the Roughs. Good to see you. Welcome. Some people talk about me, Jackie, both Jackies, because every day on Facebook, hey, what's up, Diane? My sister was hanging out with me Wednesday night. I miss you tonight. So they got me up here solo. We had a ball Wednesday night, didn't we? And you see that? It was almost 1,000 people. We got almost 1,000 views. So yeah, we spread the word. People talk about me, you all, because on Facebook, I make it known I want me a husband. I want to be married. So I'm always teasing about that. And they're like, that sounds so desperate. Oh, well, I don't think that's desperate. I think that's being plain. And I'll tell you what has happened as a result of that. So people who think I wouldn't even be saying that, I've never wanted to be married. And you know what? That's why I'm saying there's room for everybody here. There's room for everybody. And I got some friends who like it. That just wasn't their deal. When my book comes out, you'll read it all. There's never been a time I didn't want to be married. From the time I was a very young girl, and not the wedding, not just the wedding, I really wanted to be married. Still do. And I have some friends that men and women who are now wired like that, but they want companionship. I want everybody to get what they want. So watch this. This is what has happened since I have declared that publicly. Watch this. I don't get garbage in my inbox anymore. Okay. I used to get all kinds of trash in my inbox because it wasn't clear what I wanted. I had people making all kinds of proposals, and I mean indecent proposals. Saying odd things about my appearance, very offensive things. Now, you don't have control over what people say to you. You only have control over your response. But I will say that since I have publicly and unequivocally expressed my relationship goals, the level, the standard of men who approach me in writing and the standard of men that approach me face to face are very different. See, Jackie, you do the same thing. Okay. So I don't have that in the hookup messages. I don't have, you sure is pretty. I was like, my daddy been telling me that since dad was born. Come with something else. I don't have all of that foolishness. They won't even step to me. It's just like somebody with a link card. What's up, Ben? How are you, brother? Now we got VA in the house. Come on, come through. Everybody deserves love. God didn't want us to be by ourselves. He wants someone in our lives that makes us better, which means we have to choose better. And I'm telling you, when you are clear about what you want, and I know I have hammered this first point to death, but when you are honest and clear about what you want, the applicants that bring an application are going to be different. Now, your words also have to match your actions, because I'll see a lot of men and women who will say they want this, but the behavior shows you something totally different. You're like, ain't no way in the world I would sign up for that fool to be my husband or my wife. So make sure, and I'm going to talk about it some more as I get down my list. Make sure your words and your actions match up. Okay? Please do that. Number 2, biggest one on the list. I'm going to get to the married people in a minute. But this goes into choosing. Focus on values over traits. Character over features. Time to throw out the list. That's it. And they do. Big sis, nobody walks to me with foolishness. I haven't had foolishness, honestly, in 2 years. It can muddle the water, but then what I'm saying is this. I think it's just like if you're online dating, the same way if you just have an online presence, it should be reflective of who you are and what you really want. People perpetrate lies on social media just like they perpetrate lies on online dating sites. But if you are presenting your true self, your authentic self, the right people will find you, even if that's business, if that's spiritual, friendship, as well as romantic relationships. I will take that to the bank. Let me see what's going on in the chat. Married twice, first marriage last 2 years, still married to my second, coming up on 32 years. I love it. Found my soulmate and we still dated. Wasn't easy, but we doing okay. Shout out to Emma and Rasta. Y'all holding it down. That's it. And it's a choice every day to push in, lean in, love on. It's a choice. My parents, they'll be 58 years this summer. 58 years. And that's what they have told me over the years. It is a choice to stay here and love on this person. Deposit into this account, as opposed to writing checks all over town. You see where I went with that? So, but part of that is because you have to focus on values. If you're choosing somebody based on their features, based on what you see, and you're not thinking about who that person is on the inside, there's nothing to build on. There's nothing to invest into. Because if you're choosing from the outside, or you're choosing what's popular, and I'm gonna say a little bit more about that in a moment, that's not sustainable. That's not sustainable. Love is definitely a two-way street. Total commitment is a must, or it's not going to work. Yeah, it's hard. Anything worth having is difficult. Raising kids is hard. Amen. And I'm glad you are where you are. Don't think I'm not watching your inspiration. You don't know how many people you inspire by sharing. But it's hard. Anything worth having is hard. Raising children is hard. How many times, let me see a show of hands, how many times you want to take those little ragamuffins and sit them on the windowsill and hope somebody pick them up and take them home with them? And you love them. You love them. But it's hard. It's hard sometimes. Dr. Kim, I will share this with folks in my life who want and need a relationship. I'm not relationship with material. Folks, stay encouraged. Amen. Do you know that that's a very profound and important statement, Phyllis? There are so many people who are out here wasting people's times because they're like, I really don't have it in me. But people keep asking me, where is that somebody? And they're not willing to be honest like you just were and say, you know what? I don't have it in me to give myself to that level to another person. And understand this, it could change. It could change. But if that's where you are right now, or that's where you continue to be, then that's a good place. It's knowing where you are. Same as I told you, I had to come to the discovery, Kim works better in a match set. That's Kim. That's Kim. But I so love that you said that. And the same thing when I've met men who have said, this is what I have the capacity to give. I can be a good boyfriend. I can be a good companion, but I'm not husband material. And I remember explaining that to my daughters and some other young women in my life who like, why didn't this work out with you and this person? Why didn't this work out with you and that person? Because he's a good man. But there's a big difference between a good man and a husband, a good woman and a wife. That's a whole nother level of commitment. And so if you don't have it in you, that's love right there, to say to somebody, I can't give you what it is you require or desire. I'm not that person. But this is what I can offer you. And if you're satisfied with that, then we'll be okay. But if you want something else, you gotta go. Wow. That's a blessing. That's a blessing. No, no, indeed. So focus on values. So what I did, thank you. So what I did is I thought about who this person really needs to be. What is defined as wifey and husband material? That's a whole nother show for another day. You're not going to take me off my list tonight, Ben. But I will say this, a husband and a wife, how that differs from being a boyfriend and a girlfriend, and those who have been married some time can attest to this. There's a level of sacrifice that is required to be a husband or a wife. There's a huge part of yourself that has to be more concerned with your partner than yourself. Every decision that you make affects that person. Boyfriend or girlfriend, you might make the decision and then tell them, this is what I did. And I want your support. A husband or a wife, you got to come to that person because everything that you do affects them. So there's a level of sacrifice. There may be some things that you have to say no to because you know how that's going to affect them. There may be some things you need to wait and do because you know how that affects them. And that's a much higher calling and a much higher responsibility and level of commitment to give than a boyfriend or a girlfriend. I'll give you another example. And this has happened, I'll just say once, where there was a gentleman who, I won't say intimidated, but he was concerned that he did not make as much money as I did. And I said, okay, that can be fixed, right? Money is there to be made. It's not like you're saying, oh, I'm not tall enough. Well, at this age, you're not going to grow. So that would be a problem. But money can be made just like it can be lost, correct? So to me, a boyfriend complains about that. A husband finds a way to address it. And that to me is what differentiated the two. A boyfriend can come up with excuses. Husband has to make it happen. Or is going to find a way. He's going to exhaust ways to make that happen. Same thing with a wife. She sees there's a need. She's going to make sure that her husband's needs are met. Instead of saying, I'm praying for you, good luck. So your God is my God. Your problem is my problem. It's a we. And that's what I want. I want a us. I don't want somebody saying, yo, I hope things work out for you. I want somebody in the trenches with me. What we gonna do? That's the difference between boyfriend and a girlfriend, a husband and a wife. That's the short definition. Yep. That's all I got. That's all I got for tonight. So number one, be clear. That narrows down the foolishness. Number two, focus on values over traits. What's the most important thing for you? For me, I'm talking about qualities, it's consistency, it's integrity. Just like the song I was playing when it first came on. Can you just be there for me? Can you handle the changes in my mood? Can you handle when things are going on with me? Is that level of affection going to be there? Maybe even on days that you don't feel like it, but you know that's a need that I have. That's commitment. That's commitment. So I want somebody who has integrity. I want somebody who's truthful, who's honest. I want someone who has integrity, meaning you're going to be the same way behind my back that you are in front of my face. That speaks to fidelity. That speaks to loyalty, a sense of humor. I need you to make me laugh. I need for us to have fun together. There's the friendship aspects that I was talking about Wednesday night. If I'm going to commit my life to you, and we best friends, we need to have the insider jokes, right? There needs to be things that we can laugh about and laugh at life, which gives you strength. To me, humor is super, super duper important. Even temper. I have dealt with folks flying off the handle, hollerers and screamers. I can't do it anymore in my life. So for me, an even-tempered man, that's a characteristic, that is a value that he must have. That regardless of what's going on around him, he can say, hey, let's deal with this. Or let's not deal with this right now. Let's let things calm down. But the hollering and the screaming, that's not Kim. And if you got to go on 20, and I've met men like that. I've met women like that. They want to argue. They feel the love through drama. So unless you holler and screaming, they think, well, this not important to you. This don't matter to you. No, I'm just not hollering and screaming. It's not going to solve this. But if you were raised on the struggle, and everybody hollering and screaming. That's what you think love is. That's what you think family is. So find your person. That's not me. So again, thinking about what's enduring, okay, is the characteristics. Because let me tell you something, that body gonna drop, the hair gonna fall out, the wrinkles are gonna come. I'm fighting some right now. I was like, okay, it's time for, it's gonna come. But that heart is what you're with for 32 years. That heart is what you're with for 58 years. That soul in a body is who you're signing up to be with. So you better find out who that joker is, okay, before you commit. For real, for real. If you're going to marry, you got to be committed to it for your marriage. Marriage isn't just a ceremony. It's a way of life. That's what I'm saying. Everything has to change. Again, the only thing I have for comparison, again, is children. It's children, if you take that seriously. And I've talked to people about that. If you have children and your life does not change, you're not a parent. Because your life has to change to some degree to be a parent for those children. Period. It's a commitment. It's a commitment, and that's a unilateral commitment because I ain't asked to come here, okay? As my kids have reminded me a couple of times, I ain't asked to come here. So since I brought you here, my commitment is to love you unconditionally. My commitment is to sacrifice so you're okay. And marriage is just another shade of that, okay? What's she saying? I missed it. I wasted my time in my earlier years in long-term relationships. I learned through being single for 6 years that I had to work on myself because I was settling. Oh, it's so much knowing our worth. Girl, you all in my notes. That is huge. Now, I've talked about that on a previous show. If you were here, and I wonder if Jacqueline talked to me, if you keep hearing, were you hearing the same thing from different people that you were in relationships? Thank you, cuz I'm trying. I experienced that. Well, I was hearing the same things from different people who didn't know each other. And I was just like, dang, that's the last guy said that to me. And the guy before that said that to me. So guess who the common denominator is? You. So I had to look and say, what's going on with you, girl? That several people have made the same conclusion or drawn the same conclusion about you. Girl, don't play no DJ Rogers up in here, have you crying in this chair. Okay. So let me skip on down to that since Jacqueline brought it up. Working on yourself. Working on yourself. So much of it has to do with you got to know yourself. The good, the bad, and the ugly. I always encourage people in early conversation to have is your pet peeves. What are your pet peeves? What are your triggers, which is such a popular word now? What are the things that really get you going or irritate you or make you feel unloved? People don't like to have those harsh conversations early on because, again, they think that's going to scare the person away. That's how you get to know somebody. That's how you get to know. Give you an example. There was a guy that I dated. His trigger was the word boy. Like Michael on Good Times. That was his trigger. And I'm always saying, boy, bye. Boy, bye. That's my saying, right? That did not work with him. I would say, boy, bye. And he was light. And that child would start turning red. And freckles would start popping off his face. I was like, whoa, slow down. He said, but I told you that's an issue for me. So we had to sit him in. I said, why does that bother you so bad? And he said, because he remembers being in the South and seeing people call his father boy and ridicule his father in front of him by calling him boy. And so he decreed and declared that when he was an adult man, he was never going to let anybody call him boy. And it was not a joke. So for him, he meant that. And so I was like, wow, I'm glad you explained that to me. He didn't have to, but it helped for me to understand that it wasn't just an irritation, that was a trigger for him down in his soul. I had to respect that. We had that conversation early on. So for me, don't call me the word female. I hate when I hear men, oh, you females, this, women do. Ooh, that take me to 0 to 60 real fast. Don't group me with millions of other chicks that you have never met. Talk to Kim about Kim. Okay. So when I meet a man and he starts going off on a tangent, what you women do, what all women do, conversation over. Thank you. It's been nice. Here's the tip. Here's my half of the check. I wish you the best. God bless you and the door that you came in. Okay, because I ain't gonna be able to do it. But you got to know yourself. And so that's part of the work that I've been doing. What are the good parts of me? Like, honestly, when I show up, what's the best of me? And what is the ugly side? What's that Lettucey saying that? What's the ugly side of me? The side that makes it difficult for me to love. I need to smooth out those edges. If I want somebody in my life, and you hear people in church say this, I'm like, God know my heart. He does with your filthy self. Fix some of that. That's a lot to ask somebody to come in your life, and they're going to have to accept some things. But if you know there's some ragamuffin ways that you have, deal with it. Whether it's you're constantly late, whether it's you're always talking over somebody, whatever it is, because we all have toxic traits. I did a show about that about 2 months ago. We all have toxic traits. Work on them, but that is way too much to ask somebody you're just supposed to overlook that because I'm beautiful or because I cook good or because I do some other things really good. That's a lot. Work on that. Work on your toxic traits and be willing to own them. And I always think that's a great invitation too. Say, you know what, I kind of struggle here a little bit, but if you see me go off on a tangent, like, here's a signal. And I know, ooh, let me reel it in. Did I go there again? Yep, you were about to go there. Dang, all right. Thanks for the heads up. Ooh, I'm starting working on it. So being willing to be transparent, vulnerable, all those words we hear, that's what it looks like. Being able to own your, but also be fixing it. Also be fixing it. If you need therapy, if you need a counselor, if you need to go sit down with somebody and talk about your stuff, please do. I am a proponent of taking care of your mental health. Take care of what's up under here, just like you do with your heart, your bones, your lungs, everything else. I have a therapist. As I'm taking in everybody else's stuff, I need somebody to help me with my stuff. So I see a therapist. Find you one. If you need some help, I have some great references. I'll help you find you one. But deal with yourself before you start inviting somebody into your life. Michael Jackson says, but look the man in the mirror. The right person can help us fix our issues. The only way the right person can help you fix your issues is if you are willing to work on them. And I've said that before. A good woman can inspire a man to be his best self, but he has to desire wanting to rise to his highest self. She can't come in there and just make him or say, babe, you just need to work on this and think it's going to happen. It's not going to happen. Same thing as a woman. And I'm telling you, the things I've had, thank you, sweetheart. Appreciate your feedback. The thing that I said that I've had to work on. It's like, wow, if I want somebody in my life, I gotta trim the fat off of that. And there have been men, you all hear me talk about the unicorn angel, my unicorn angel every week. That's one thing I love about him. He is not my guy, but he's somebody very special to me. He's made me look at myself. He's made me want to be the best Kim that I can be by holding up that mirror. So I'll give you an example. If he's watching, hey, boo, we had a disagreement probably end of last year. And he kind of was like, flag on the play, pause. We got to stop here. rewind the tape, and we got to slow our roll and do some work here, because we're not meshing. And what the issue is we have very different communication styles and different communication needs. So I was super apologetic. I felt bad because I'm like, man, everything is going like gravy. I mean, it was going good. I was like, oh, he is like the male version of myself. I think this is the one. This the one, right? And I'm apologizing, and he was like, no, you don't need to apologize. He said, we needed to find this out. What you need, what I need, how you function, and how I function. And then we can make the decision, are we willing to do what's necessary to accommodate each other? Now that's grown man stuff right there. That impressed me. Okay? Instead of saying, you know what, this girl, she just needy. Which is what we often jump to when people have needs different than our own, or you just think the world revolves around you. He said, I needed to know that about you, and you need to know this about me. Now let's figure out, are we willing to do the work? Because maybe I need to give a little bit and you need to give a little bit, right? Can we do the work to accommodate each other? And is there any work that we need to do to make it easier to be accommodated? That is grown people stuff. I love it. I love it. I love it. Accountability. Thank you, Jackie, and stepping up. Because none of us walk on water. A few of us serve the one that does. Hallelujah. But you not him. Get your life. Y'all not gonna let me finish this tonight. I've only gotten 3 things in. So be clear. Focus on the values that you want in that person. That's an example of the even-temperedness, like I was telling you about earlier. Average guys that I've met, that would have been a whole argument. Probably would have went on for weeks. Would have been a whole argument. He was like, nope, cease and desist. We got to do this differently because it's, no. Super dope. Love that. Okay. That's also work on ourselves. Set boundaries and be consistent with that. If you know that there are certain things you're not going to tolerate, we also call them non-negotiables. Nip it in the bud. Be real. Don't accept it. You talked about that, Jackie talked about that earlier, about accepting some things, settling. You sometimes will see that person's character, come out of a bag right in front of you, and you'll ignore it because you're like, he's so fine. Or we have so much fun. Younger women, but he's spending so much money on me. Shame on you. Men. But my partners are respecting me because I pulled a dime, for real. And this person is crossing boundaries with you, whatever those are. Is it a lie? Is it being late? Is it, I was talking to somebody about this the other day, being over-sexual. And I've already told you that that's something I need to ease into, even talking about it, whatever that is. And this is the one that tickles me. Where is Emma still in here? Because we this is one of those things that people mistake about me, because I'm like, don't start with all that sex talk with me too soon. Now, I'm a Scorpio at heart. You all read between the lines, okay? But you can't come out the gate with me like that. So that's a boundary for me. You want to start talking about what you want to do to me and how you're going to flip me upside down like a flapjack and all of that, sir. And I don't even know how you take your coffee. I don't know anything about you, and you going there. That's a boundary for me. And I've learned that when people exhibit that early on, not only are you going to cross that boundary, you're going to cross some other ones. And at the end of the day, that's disrespect. It's disrespect. If I've told you that this is something that means something to me, and the person constantly crosses that, first time may be a mistake. The second and that third time was a decision. Trust me, it's not going to get better. So respect your own boundaries. And I think be man or woman, enough to explain to the person that they have, and then back it up, put it in reverse. Don't ghost them. Don't just fall off the face of the earth and they don't know what happened. And don't do this orbiting that people do, which I hate. And I got somebody doing that to me now, about to get blocked. So if it's you and you're watching and you're not able to find me, the next couple of days, you'll know. Don't stop talking to me and then think you're going to be in my stories and you're going to be on my posts because you still kind of want to see how I'm living, or if I'm talking about you. I would not give you the satisfaction. I've told you why I'm not dealing with you no more. Either step to me as a grown person and say that you've changed your ways or you made a mistake and then do it, or walk away. But we're not doing all of these little these gray areas anymore, people. We're not doing that. Look, I was telling my daughter, watch the news. Do you see all this foolishness that's going on in the dating world? People meeting people, people meeting people, and they're either lying or they've misrepresented themselves or it doesn't go their way. God. And they're killing people. This is not a game. So, Rebecca, that takes me to this next one. Listen more than you talk. Listen more than you talk. Now, this is one, excuse me, I don't know what's happening. And I told Emma that there would be a few in here that would be good for married people, and that's one of them. Listen more than you talk. Sometimes just sit in the space, and whenever, especially women listening to men, if a man is talking to you, that's not a sign of weakness, that's strength. If he is talking to you and he's sharing, listen with your full presence, full attention, and take in what he is saying. Not listening to respond, not listening to debate, not listening to correct. Listen and accept what you hear. Women typically want to change men from the beginning and throughout the relationship, right? Women have a tendency, I'ma just love those bad, those bad parts of him. If I love him enough, then he'll do this. And then men tend to be the opposite. They don't want the woman to change. So if she does this, or she dresses like this, or whatever, she's supposed to be like that until the end of time. And what both parties have to understand is people change, people evolve. And there's certain aspects of that we're going to have to accept. But that listening. I've seen men too. That's what I'm telling you. And I was telling Robert this. I was listening to their show, the men live from the cave. And it's a group of men that talk about relationship issues. They have a show every Thursday night. And that's what I was telling them. That's the conclusion that I've come to, is men and women, we've experienced the same things. Women don't have a lock on this, men don't either. I've seen men open up their heart, be vulnerable, and a woman uses it against them, like a Samson and Delilah kind of thing. You know, my hair is my strength. Really? I'm about to cut that and have my way with you. And I've seen men do the same thing. Oh, that's her weakness, or that's something that an ex did, and you would think that'd be a mistake. They're like, okay, I'll use it against you. Absolutely. So if we are really trying to invest in somebody, listen. So many times, men and women, again, we're trying to sell ourselves to people. Pick me, pick me. You see how wonderful I am? You see all these things that I do and all these things that I know? And we're somebody trying to talk over the person and show them how good we are. When guess what? Each person has a turn to demonstrate. And if they're trying to talk to you, and typically I find this with women, a man is trying to talk to you and kind of spread his feathers and show you that he is worthy of you. Listen. And then you can find out yes or no. If there's something he's not telling you, then you can ask a question. Now, this is something that the men brought up last night. And I think women have a different view of this depending on what they've experienced. Men don't mind answering your questions, but many times it is the tone we use. Now, I talked about it a little bit Wednesday. If you come off like Oprah and I've done this, honest to God, the 2011 Dr. Kim is not the 2023 Dr. Kim. So I was determined. I'm going to ask some questions up front so I don't get God again. But I'm sitting there with an actual notebook. So tell me about this. And I'm writing it down. So what about this? Like I'm interviewing this man, literally. He's like, dang, he was like, do you have like a list of questions or something? And I was just like, yeah, why? He was like, whoa. So what that showed him is this chick is hurt. And I was walking in my trauma. Okay. So men do not mind. And I heard the guys talking about this last night. They do not mind opening up and talking to a woman, especially if it's a woman they're interested in. But their tone needs to be inviting, as well as when they're answering you like, really? So you looking suspicious. His answer is too good. That's your hurt talking, sis. And if you're still that hurt, you don't need to be out in these dating streets interviewing anybody. Go somewhere and sit on somebody's couch and get well. Get you some prayer and get you some therapy. But I've seen that. You're like, wow, he's a really good guy. And you're sitting up there one eye. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but we'll see. Wow, really? How would you feel if somebody did you like that? So that's on the list. Treat people like you want to be treated. I know a lot of women who act like men don't have feelings. Or other people are like, wow, thank you, Lewis. You know, or he should be able to take it. If he's a man, he should be able to take it. I don't want a weak man. That somebody has feelings that makes them weak. This is why a lot of men won't talk. Because that's what the word on the street is. If he shows emotions, he's weak. That's awful. Or you're going to be judged by what you say. Treat people like you want to be treated. Okay, here's another one for the married people, the single and the married people. Make every date unique. Be creative. I'm finding everybody is kind of stuck. This dating stuff is just stuck. Oh, let's go get something to eat. I don't know about you. I've been detoxing this week. I said your best summer body is made in the winter. I'm trying to get this together. I'm wearing my two-piece this summer. So I don't want to be going to the all-you-can-eat places all the time. What else can we do? We live in one of the greatest cities in the world. It's fine. Museum. Maybe watch a live event. Something that we have in common. What's something we can learn together? Okay? No, you don't ask too many questions. It could be, okay, let me flag on the play on the dates. I'm sorry, there might be a lag in the me saying the chat. It might not be, I'll say a couple of things. It could be that you're asking too many questions at one time. So this process does require some patience. You're not going to learn everything day one. I think you need to be selective about what you're asking up front, because there are some things you do need to know early on so you can decide if you want to continue. So it could be that you're asking too many questions at once. It could be your tone. It could be your body language. Or Yeah, I'm gonna be in my two-piece, Louis. This is not a game. So you're not gonna see me at hibachi. No, I'm doing tapping small plates until I get in my two-piece, and I'm gonna wear it well. I'm not gonna just put it on because it's my size. I'm gonna do it justice. Her. Thank you. Anyway, as I was saying, Jacqueline. So, or it could be the person that you want that you're talking to is a very private person, and some people are not as comfortable answering questions and certain questions until they get to know people. And then the last category is folks who are trying to hide something. So typically, if somebody, I don't know, why are you asking me all these questions? That's personal. I remember, watch this, I was asking a guy, so how many kids do you have? And he said, that was a personal question. I was like, that's a demographic question. I wasn't asking you your children's names. I didn't ask you what school they went to. I just wanted to know how many kids he had. And he said, that was personal. I said, oh, okay. Not really too much further I can go with that you can't tell me how many children you have. Then I had another guy who told me how many children he had and almost blew my hat off. He said he had 11 children. I said, oh my, okay. Are they have the same mother? I said, no. Said, oh, okay. How many mothers are involved? I'm still trying to give him a chance, you all. And I think it was 4. It was 4 women. I said, oh, I see. Okay. Wow. Thank you for sharing. And he said, that's a lot. That's a lot for you. I said, that's kind of a lot. I said, I would have to be honest with you. I've been a stepmother, so I'm not afraid of dealing with other people's children or a baby mama. I hate that term. But 4, I think that's a little bit more than I would prefer to deal with. And he took that and he understood it. And he said, that's why I put it out front, because I know that is a lot, but I felt you need to. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. Nice guy, 11 kids, can't do it. Men have feelings, it's not a sign of weakness. Heck no. I've been told that I come across as being a smart ass. What a friend at work asks what I'm eating for lunch. I playfully say, whatever I feel like eating, and she gets upset, calling you a smart ass. Okay, so you're sarcastic. That's not your person, so move around. Move around. You don't owe her an explanation, okay? Be clear. Focus on values. Set your boundaries and stick to them. Treat the person like you want to be treated. Listen more than you talk. Huge one, huge one, huge one. Making these dates. Yeah, make these dates creative. Think about new experiences. So what's something that we can learn together? What's something that we can do that we can see how we fit together, right? So sports, I always say those are good dates, like miniature golf or bowling. See if the person has some level of competition if you like that kind of thing. But to see, is there some kind of physical energy between you? How this person cooperates, how they communicate, can we work together, like I said, as a team? Those kind of experiences. And that's the word that I've been hearing a lot around dates. Let's create experiences. Let's create memories. So it's super important that you choose a place that maybe you didn't go to with your ex. Maybe you don't have sentimental memories about you and your ex, but think about something unique. Think about something unique that, what sounds like you, Jackie? What did I say that sounds like you? So be creative. Be creative. New experiences. So for the married people, not getting stuck in a rut. Date night, karaoke dates, absolutely. I love stuff like that. You mentioned cooking on the show Wednesday night, taking a cooking class. I think that's a wonderful. Married, single. You learn things about a person going through a process and having an experience. The worst date you can go on in the beginning is a movie, because we're both staring at the screen, eating some popcorn. What are you learning? Nothing. except maybe you like the same movie or something, but you're not learning about each other. So plan some dates, plan some experiences. Also, it's very difficult for you to be phony while you're out on a date like that. You're really going to find out who you are. I mean, who this person is, and things about yourself. Do they have patience? You waiting in line. I saw a meme on Facebook the other day, said Black people stand in line 2 minutes and be like, I ain't gonna be able to do this. So you see, is the person patient? Do they know, like I said, do they know how to take turns? Are they paying attention to you? What's fun? What's frustrating you? Do they lend a hand? Do they try to help? So many opportunities on dates like that to really find out who this person is for real. You can fake stuff during dinner. You can fake stuff at the show. You cannot fake it in the middle of bowling. Are you clumsy? That's going to come out. Do you have a sense of humor? Are you real serious? Can you criticize but can't take criticism? All of that. All of that's out in the blue. Okay. I'm gonna run through these next ones real quick because we are way, way over time. And you see my throat is doing something tonight. You all pray for me. Also, I'm gonna tease you. Like one of my friends in ministry say, he was like, when people come to eat, he said, when we go to eat, we leave a tip, right? So don't consider it robbery if you want to leave a tip for Dr. Kim. And all this good teaching that I try to do in here on Friday nights. I'm gonna put my Cash App in there. If you all feel led, it will bless me, right? Keep the Zoom going and all of this. But so I don't beg, but I will ask, because people are like, don't you put your Cash App on there? And I'm like, no, because I don't do it for that. But they're like, at the same time, sometimes people may want to do that. And a few of you have been kind enough to bless me in that way. So I appreciate it. Keep in mind too that some folks aren't comfortable with using the word date. I know a lot of older single folk aren't comfortable with it. So try saying get together. Now, here's the thing that can be misconstrued, right? So like you said, common vocabulary is important, because some people say, oh, we're getting together. What does that mean? So we're saying get together. Some people think that's sexual. So we're just hooking up. So we're not getting together to get to know each other. We're getting together. So I think it's important to have some common vocabulary. That might be kind of tough to do, but something to be mindful of. Yeah, people don't want to call it a date. I know Sherry, she's not on here tonight, but she calls it, especially the first time you get together, the meet and greet. Let's just do a meet and greet. No pressure, right? Just gonna meet, see who we are in person, and if we want to see each other again, then we'll plan something a little bit longer, a little bit more formal. So that takes me to this bullet, which is super important. Don't put so much pressure on every interaction or every person that you meet. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be objective driven, like I'm going on a mission. Meet people, go out, find out. Hey, you are here. What's up, Sherry Mary? So see, I was using your meet and greet. Super important. So don't put so much pressure on the date or the get together. Go have a good time. It's a day in your life. If it's somebody you want to see again, they want to see you again, great, it's a win. If not, you had a good time playing miniature golf, you had a good time eating whatever it is you ate, and move on. But people feel pressure. I have been on dates where I felt pressure, desperation, and it's a turnoff. So whoever does it, again, like I said at the top of the broadcast, yep, meet and greet. As I said at the top of the show, sometimes these topics are for both men and women. So this is not just what women need to do. This is for men as well, all different age groups. You fell asleep? Oh my God. Listen, that's why I'm drinking coffee tonight. No tequila for me, no wine. Usually I try to have something sassy when I'm on here. I had to make some coffee tonight. Okay. With Italian cream, a little Italian cream in there. So, yeah. So so no pressure. Literally. Twice I have felt that way. I just knew the person. I'm like, is he gonna drop down on one knee like today? Second date, but you could just see it, you could feel it, because the man said he wanted to be married. And I'm just like, he might try to get somebody to marry us in here before the tiramisu comes. Oh my God. And you all know I want to be married, but somebody who's like, that's too much. It's too much. You got to bake tonight? Well, I'm glad you're up. I'm glad you're up. So no pressure. Let me go through the next ones. And like I said, it's probably going to be another show. Don't. Oh God. What forgot me has got me tonight. Are you all praying? Don't overanalyze. What? Ben, what did you say? Because YouTube is not letting it show up. YouTube heard your message. Read it and see what he's saying. YouTube said you said something. I have to decide whether I can shy it or oh my God. Ben, be careful what you're saying here on. Be careful what you say on YouTube. They're getting as bad as Facebook. Okay. I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go. So don't overanalyze. Ask instead of assume. We make a lot of assumptions. Ask questions. Why would you? Oh, I'm sorry. I've never seen anybody do that before. Is there a reason why you did that? Or if a person's been calling you every day and all of a sudden you don't hear from them, ask the question, hey, you okay? Haven't heard from you. Is everything all right? One thing I told my daughter is what keeps me honest about this process is this a question I would ask one of my girlfriends? So if I'm not in a committed relationship with this person yet, number one, and if I'm also saying I'm trying to cultivate a friendship with this man and possibly a relationship, how would I handle one of my friends? So what I and Sherry's one of my good friends, I'm like, well, dang, you ain't called me. What the hell's your problem? I wouldn't snap on her like that. I'd be like, sis, you good over there? Ain't heard from you in a couple of days. Because I know if I haven't heard from her, like we haven't talked this much this week since I've been back from Virginia, because it's been a crazy week. But I don't think she's over there. Dang, Kim ain't pick up. I seen her on social media, but she can't call the girl. No, we wouldn't do that with our friends, but we do that with potential partners, right? Oh, so he just ain't gonna call. Oh, he must be talking some other how. Ask the question instead of assuming. Ask the question instead of assuming. Okay, absolutely. So don't overanalyze. Ask instead of assume. Here's one for a whole nother show. Now you all gonna have to hit the like and share on this one. Make sure that you can offer what you require. I repeat, make sure you can offer what you require. Now that's another one for married and single people too. I think we are so stuck in what men are supposed to do, what women are supposed to do, what men are supposed to bring to the table. Women say, I am the table. Okay. I think a lot of folks are looking for somebody to be something for them. Like I heard Ben, you said earlier, the right person can make you fix yourself or make you be your better self. Still a choice. It's still a choice. But I think that's so wrong for us to think, once I get this person, then I'm going to have this great life. Go have that great life and then invite somebody to it. So can you provide what you require? You want somebody to make you happy? Are you happy enough to make somebody happy? Nobody has to sing and dance and be, or like I tell my students, be Sesame Street for you. That's not somebody's job to do that, but they can add to your happiness. And it's hard to add to someone's happiness if you're not happy yourself. Oh, once I get a partner, then I'll travel. Sherry, I'm on your street. Sherry, go. If it's someplace to go, sis, go. If you follow me on Facebook, you know if it's some music involved, I'm there, she's there, we're gonna go. Now, a partner coming into that, if he's met me or he's seen my online presence, he knows that's something I like to do. So I'm not waiting on some man to buy me a ticket to go somewhere. But they'll know, guess what? This is what I do. I know how to have a good time. I invite you to that. I want somebody to support me. Am I a supportive person? I don't think that's just a man's job to be there for me. So that I require or that I desire, I like that even better, I can also give. I'm not looking for somebody to play Captain Save-A-Hole and come give me something that I can't provide for myself or I cannot give to him. And I see a lot more women doing that than men, but the men too, with this cooking stuff. So you're looking for somebody to pick up where your mother left off. Now, the nurturer that I am, like I said, I just don't think that I'm the hired help. I don't think that's my job. I think that my responsibility is to make sure you're good. That's something we need to talk about. And that goes back to the very first one, and that's being honest. That's being honest. Because I think there's some men, and I'm like, if that's what you really want, say that. I really want a domestic, what did Roseanne used to call it, the domestic goddess or whatever. That's what I really want. Okay, so if that's what you really want, and I don't mind giving you that, then maybe this is how we need to get her. This is what I need from you for that to happen. I don't mind giving you that. And likewise, if there's something that I want him to give me, and he's like, that's not quite me, but I could give you this, or this is what I need from you to give you that. That's a conversation. That's communication. That's compromise. And we men and women need to be teachable. You can't hear what's being taught if your ears, heart, mind are closed. Boom. And that's the truth. That's why I was saying earlier about listening. We got to learn how to listen and take in information and not always be so quick to defend or to fix or correct. Okay. So make sure you can offer what you require, work on yourself, right? So you are lovable and reachable. Don't put all your eggs in your basket too soon. Women do that a lot. Be falling all up in love, infatuation and everything. And now you done planned the wedding, the family reunion, and the man he opened the door for you. Oh, he's everything I've been dreaming about. And sometimes you'll meet somebody nice, honestly, and I've seen some of my brothers go through this. You'll meet someone so nice because you've had so many bad experiences that you're like, wow, they just fell from the sky. I know this might be the one. No, they're just a really good person and really good energy. So that doesn't mean that you have to tear up all the other numbers, stop making phone calls. Like I said, start planning the wedding, start packing boxes to move. So don't put your eggs all in the basket. I see men put their whole wallet into women. So we put our eggs all in one basket, literally and figuratively. And I see men that will take their whole, I'm gonna get her this, I'm gonna buy her that, I'm gonna take her there, I'm gonna do this, and look up and you $500, $600, $700, $1,000 in. This woman hasn't said she belongs to you. You haven't asked her to belong to you or commit yourself to her, but you're trying to get her the wallet, or you feel something you haven't felt with somebody else, so you just go all in. There needs to be some conversations. Just don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's relationship suicide. It'll run somebody off. And also, like I said, it's premature. Because you'll find out, been there. Wow. So they want a commitment. They want to give me the commitment. And I don't really know who I'm committing to, but you find out. You find out real quick. So don't be so quick to latch on. And again, I know it's scary. You meet somebody, you like, I want to bag this. I don't want to let this get away. Still need to have a conversation and know who this person is and know that you are not signing up the representative. We hear that term used a lot. Maintain your friendships, even with the people that you don't match with. We live in such a disposable society. We just throw people away. I want to go next. Sometimes those people are still good to have in your life as friends. We need to learn how to be friends with the opposite sex. So if it was not a love match, it wasn't a love interest, then not. Now, if there was a big disagreement or something like that, you might not be able to maintain that. But I could say this truly, there's only been in the past 12 years, two guys that I just don't speak to at all. Like beat it, lose my number, block and all of that. Everyone else, it was just like, wow, you're such a great person, but we just don't have that it. We just don't have that, but we're still friends, platonic friends. Can call, ask a question, that kind of thing. And so still learning about men, how men function, how men move, how men communicate. They're valuable people to have in my life. So don't be so quick to throw people away, okay? That is true then that some men show their love by spending money because traditionally they're providers. But definitely if they're a man that's a giver, and that looks different ways. It's not always monetary. So I'm saying I've seen men too. I was using money as an example, but I've seen men with their time. They, always run into a rescue, whether it's feeding her or showing up at her job to do things. And, and it's like you took this girl out a couple of times and now you're doing wife things for her or you're doing husband things for her. And there's been no commitment. And then they're like, wow, she took advantage of me. Did she take advantage of you? The jury may be out. She may have if she knew her feelings were not the same as yours. But you also put yourself in a position to be taken advantage of or be taken for granted. And women, the same thing. I'm going to cook him this big old dinner, especially what groceries cost now. So I'm going to fix him this big old dinner and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And the man barely said hi. Then you want to be mad. Girl, you had me over there cooking all that stuff. And then he going to turn around and tell me. Kind of put yourself there. So I'm not suggesting that you make people jump through hoops to get certain things. But what I am suggesting is that you be very clear about where you are. And not so much try to get somebody. This is what I need to do to reel them in. But be authentic. And treat them the way you want to be treated. So do something nice for them, but it needs to be contingent upon where you are in that process. Okay, absolutely. Last but not least, date yourself. Date yourself. So how can you date smarter? Date yourself. One of the pet peeves that men have about women is what you ask them what they want to do. They go, I don't know. Where do you want to eat? I don't know. And some of that is because they don't want to say the wrong thing. Some of that is they don't want to look fat, right? Oh, if I just come out with a restaurant, like, dang, girl, you know somewhere to eat, right? So there's all of this judgment in the back of their mind. I don't know if I should say this or not. I don't know if I should be honest, right? Which is what I said at the beginning. But so much of it is because women don't date themselves. So the only places they know is kind of where they go with their friends or maybe where somebody has taken them. But to say that they know themselves well enough to offer suggestions or to be able to say what I like and I don't like, because they don't date themselves. They won't take themselves places that they want to go. And that's hard. if you're conditioned, if you're used to doing things as a partner, I was married the first 20 some years of my adult life. I was 20 when I got married. I was in my 40s when I got divorced. I don't know, going somewhere by myself. I didn't go to the grocery store by myself. But it was once I learned to go by myself that I found out who I really was, what I really like, what I don't like, what I'm capable of. So some confidence that was built. And then also it kept me from being guilty when someone feeling guilty if somebody asked me what did I want to do. And if oh, that's too expensive. Because guess what? That's something I do myself. I don't have a problem asking you to take me Cooper's Hawk or Ruth Chris or one of the steakhouses because I go there myself. So I don't feel like I'm asking out of turn because that's a telltale sign when somebody takes you out. You can tell when somebody's ordering off the menu because you're paying. You're like, I know this girl, but don't even eat that. She can't even pronounce it. You take me somewhere, if that's somewhere I want to go, it's because that's someplace I've already gone. I've taken myself. So I don't have any qualms about asking you to do that for me. Also, you find out that you're a more interesting individual because you've built a wealth of knowledge, learning about the world around you, learning about yourself. That's something to talk about. This is great for married people too. You still need to maintain your own identity. You still need some me time. That makes that space between you so much more interesting when you come back together. It may be an invitation for them to experience that with you at a different time. But we still, even though we're together, still need to maintain our own identity. Post the bullet points and the stuff. I'm gonna try to. Sometimes you need your own time. I'm married, but I give him his time and allow myself some time. And when we're together, absolutely, then you miss each other and you got something to talk about. You got something to share. Yes, be okay with knowing he might not be your love match, but they can be your friend. It's possible that through the friendship, you may find your love match. And definitely, if nothing else, you find the love of you. You find the love of you. And also by dating yourself, and statistics have shown this, that you have a greater likelihood of meeting someone you're compatible with because what? You're doing something that you like alongside other people who like the same thing. Duh. So yeah, so for those of you who like staying in the house, you might need to get out the house and be aware of what's going on around you. I have some friends and family members, pretty as they want to be, and I will see people paying attention to them, and they're just laser focused on what they're doing. I was like, the gentleman over there, he's trying to get your attention. Who? What? First of all, fix your face and stop with the bad attitude. But that guy over there, they're so focused on what they're doing. I believe a lot of people are missing opportunities. Like there's never a time I leave the house and I don't meet somebody. I'm always meeting people because I'm aware of what's going on around me. And sometimes I'm not looking my best, but it's the energy. It's the energy. So open your eyes. You might be missing the world around you. Okay. So here's the biggest takeaway, Jackie. If you haven't already, I would encourage you. And again, this is married and single. Write out the narrative describing your ideal relationship, the relationship you desire, the relationship that you picture in your mind, that you see, that you feel, that you hear, that you even smell. But what does it feel like? Write it out. You're already in a relationship. How close or how far are we from this? And I think it's wonderful if you can write it out and share it with your partner. Be like, wow, really? I never knew that you wanted those things. Yeah, I do. Those are some things that I want. And you give me so much of this, but there's just this little piece that would just put us there. And then in trying to find that, if you've written it out, the Bible tells us what, write the vision, make it plain. By you written it out, it's very much so a mental rehearsal. So you know it when you see it. So when I meet people, I'm like, oh gosh, he's checking a whole lot of boxes. I go back to that narrative. It's like, yep. Wow. Wow. Super close. Okay. I'll keep him in mind. Absolutely. You talk a lot. You meet people every day. Yes, you meet people everywhere. And then they also know people that know you. The social butterfly there. Okay. But I would encourage you to write it out. Design the relationship you desire. You attract what you possess. I think in you writing that out says a lot about where you are mentally, where you are spiritually, where you are emotionally. That generates something in you. You're going to start attracting that. What did I tell you a while ago? From the time I wrote that down, the choices have been so much better. The quality of men have been so much better because I think my thought processes and the things that I'm feeling exude from me. The other thing is, hey, Angela. See, you be missing people. And I know with your pretty self, it's probably people flirting with you all the time and you miss it. So you attract what you possess, you manifest what you envision. That's not magic. Some people call it magic. It's not magic. But if this is what I pictured in my mind, I'm looking for it. I'm listening for it. I'm positioning myself for it. It's going to manifest. That's why I said I only got 2 more single shows. Rest of the shows I'm doing for this season are about marriage because Sis getting married. And I might get on that. You all are teasing me about the Married at First Sight. I think I'm going to do that Married at First Sight. If they take me, I'm going to do the senior edition. But you attract what you possess. You manifest what you envision. But at the end of the day, it's both prayer and action. So you can sit up there and pray all day, every day. And I do. You all know my morning prayer. Thank you, God, for my future husband. Bless us with a relationship that edifies us and glorifies you. And God bless all of the exploits that we're going to do together because 2 is better than 1. That's my daily prayer for my husband. But I also got to act. And so now that's what I'm changing. All my language is about marriage. Just like my minister and my ministry partner told me some years ago, he said, I'm going to stop labeling myself as single. And he did. And now he's married with 2 children, a beautiful wife and children. So date smart. I will put all of the bullet points under the link on my homepage and in the group. I am a senior. Don't make me pull out my AARP card out my wallet. I'm gonna get my 20% where I can get. Okay. So be honest. I'm gonna recap and then I'll put them on the page. Be clear about your dating goals. Be honest from day one. Focus on the important values of your desired partner and not their physical characteristics. Set your boundaries, your non-negotiables, and be consistent. If they are crossed, loose them and let them go. We're not doing any stringing out relationships this year. We're gonna cut it, make clean cuts, and move on instead of giving people 1,000 chances to break our hearts. Don't ghost though. Let them know why you're leaving and go on and mean it. Don't put so much pressure on every interaction. Everybody is not a husband. Everybody is not a wife. Some people may be your friend. Just enjoy the process of getting to know people. People feel pressure and they feel desperation. Do more listening than talking. Don't listen to respond. Accept what you hear, not trying to change or correct that person, but take in what they're saying. Don't overanalyze. Ask instead of assuming, because you know what happens when you assume. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't get caught up in your feelings and infatuation. Guard your heart. Engage both your head and your heart. Okay? Until you've had that conversation. Don't claim that person as your own and don't think you're theirs just because they're treating you so good. You need to make sure you've had that talk, okay? Maintain friendships with the people that you weren't a love match with. You may have gained a good friend And that will continue to build your insight as to how the opposite sex moves, thinks, and operates. And then most important, date yourself, get to know yourself, love yourself, find out what makes you tick, and then write out that narrative, write a description of the relationship you want. And all of those things I just mentioned are good for both single people and married people to build lasting and sustaining relationships. My parents also, one of their words of wisdom after 58 years of marriage is start the way you intend to go on. So we start with honesty, we start with truth, we represent our authentic selves, and we move forward from there. What did Van say? Van always saying something when I look away. We can't really, okay, that's Rebecca. 2 is always better than 1, which is why God made relationships important. Amen. And then Rebecca said, we can't really and fully see what and who we are like when we date. So ask some real good friends to tell you. They can share some good things that can help you make a good new dating plan. Absolutely. And I have had some good male friends in my life who did give me some insight, because I just asked them, I was like, what's wrong? Like, what's going on? Like, you know, is there something I'm missing? And they were like, sis, you're a great woman, but, and they each gave me one thing I needed to work on. And I fixed one of them. I'm still working on it. Like I said, life is better. What did Angela say? Absolutely. Yup, who? You better wake up. You better wake up, Angela. So next week we're coming back with what is it? What is next week? Oh my gosh, I can't remember. I know Steph Duncan is going to be with me next week. So Angie, you need to be here. Give Stephanie some. Oh, okay, you're agreeing. Give Stephanie some support. So me and Stephanie are hanging out next week. Yeah, I think we're going to talk about, it might be communication. But I'll be posting it. I'll be posting it early next week. But thank you for joining me tonight. Please, again, like, share in some other groups. Share the link with some friends who you know might need to hear this. We don't need to have dating fatigue. Don't get tired. Don't get tired. Don't treat it like a job. Enjoy yourself. Stop being so destination oriented. Okay, we're not trying to get to marriage. We want marriage to happen. We want relationships to happen. And when you get that person, as I just told you, my parents said, do what you did at the beginning. Start the way you intend to go on. Don't pull any punches. Don't rest on your laurels. As Emma said earlier, you keep dating, you keep pouring, you keep leaning in, keep loving. And so if you have a relationship, and you want to keep that boat afloat, I'm your girl. I am Dr. Kim, the relationship renovator. I would love to be your relationship coach and talk about the things that concern you. As a single, if you want to do some private consultation about your dating, you can also do that. You can find me on Facebook, Kimberly A. King, or on my business page, The Complete Suite LLC, where you can book an appointment, where I can do some life coaching and some relationship coaching with you. I would love to partner in that journey. I have a wedding coming up. I meant to tell you all. I'm officiating a wedding on the 26th. So again, you know, I love that. We're going to do some counseling. Yeah, we're going to do some counseling next week. So, you know, I love that. Getting people together and then helping you stay together. I want to help these young people build a really solid foundation so that marriage lasts for years to come. Okay. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I'll see you next Friday night.